Welcome to Maths Live. Today, shall be looking at the topic indices. All right. You are told here that a raised to the power of n means a is multiplied by itself n times. Okay. So that if you have 2 raised to the power of maybe 8, it simply means that 2 is going to multiply by itself 8 times. So, for instance, this will be 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times 2. So, this simply means that 2 is multiplied by itself 8 times. Okay? But today, we are going to look at the laws of indices and their examples. So stay tuned and look at what we are doing. If you have your exercise book, you can put something down, you can write them down on your Bible. It will help you. All right, let's look at the laws of indices. Okay? Let's look at laws of indices. Laws of indices. All right, we will also look at their examples. Okay? Examples. Then number 1, if you have a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of n. If you have a raised to the power of m times a raised to the power of n, this is product law, multiplication law. Okay? If you have two numbers of the same base, then you will add their powers. This will simply mean a raised to the power of the first power plus the second power. Okay? For example, if you have 2 raised to the power of 3 times another 2 raised to the power of 2, this will simply mean 2 raised to the power of 3 plus 2, and that will be 2 raised to the power of 5. Can you see that? Now let's go to number 2. If you have a raised to the power of m all over a raised to the power of n, this will simply be a raised to the power of m minus n. That's division law of indices. Okay? Then let's see example. Maybe you have 2 raised to the power of 5 all over 2 raised to the power of 3. That would be equals to 2 raised to the power of 5 minus 3. And that will be equals to 2 raised to the power of 2. Okay? Then if we have number 3, if we have a raised to the power of m in bracket and is raised to the power of n, this will be equals to this will be equals to A raised to the power of M times N. Okay, and that will be by example. That will be by example if you have 2 raised to the power of 3 in bracket raised to the power of 2. That will be 2 raised to the power of 3 times 2. And that will be 2 raised to the power of 6. Can you see that? You will also have something like, you can have A times B raised to the power of M. Remember, this power here will affect the 2 variables inside this bracket, and that will give you A raised to the power of M and B raised to the power of M. That is the same thing as, what if you have 2y in bracket raised to the power of 3? Okay, this will be 2 raised to the power of 3 multiplied by y raised to the power of 3. And that will result to 8y raised to the power of 3. I believe you can see this. The moment you understand the basic laws of indices, the better for you. Okay? There are times you have questions like simultaneous equation and they lead to indices. Sometimes they lead to quadratic equation. But if you understand it, then you won't have any issue at all. Then you can also have something like this. You can also have something like A over B raised to the power of maybe N. And this would be the same thing as A raised to the power of N over B raised to the power of N. So whatever is in the bracket is affected by the power. And you can have something like this. You can have something like 2 over 3 all raised to the power of 2. And this will be 2 raised to the power of 2 all over 3 raised to the power of 2, which will be 4 over 9. Okay? We still have other laws, which I would love to show you. But before I show you that, I will have to clean the board, as we do not have much space. Okay? There is no much space right there. So, while you are alone, I want you to take time and look at those basic laws of indices. We are not done on the laws of indices yet. So, I'm going to clean parts of the board. I'm going to clean part of this board in order to make room for other questions. So let me clean the first set of questions. Okay. Let me clean the first set of questions. Okay. All right. There is another law. Let me put that one as number 6. Let me put that as number 6. Okay. We stop at this one. There is another law that says if you have A raised to the power of m over n, that this will be n root of a raised to the power of m. Look at that one very well. That can go like this. What if you have 2, or let me say, what if you have 8 raised to the power of 2 over 3? 8 raised to the power of 2 over 3. This will simply be the third root. This would simply be the cube root of 8, then raised to the power of 2. And that will be cube root of 8 is what? Is 2. And then raised to the power of 2, which will automatically be 4. Alright? So, let me clean the board as we are going, one after another, one after another. Okay? So, wherever you do not understand in any of these laws, put up your question in the comment section. Okay? Then we have number 7. You can have something like this. Again, you can have A A raised to the power of minus n. Okay, this is the negative index law. So this would be 1 over A raised to the power of n. For instance, you can have something like 2 raised to the power, or let me use 3. Okay, you can have something like 3 raised to the power of 2. That will be equals to 1 over 3 raised to the power of 2, which will be 1 over 9. All right. Then you can have like number 8. You can have something like A raised to the power of 0. This one is equals to 1. Any integer in this world raised to the power of 0 is 1. Okay. So what if you have maybe 5 raised to the power of 0? That will automatically be 1. Or you can have y raised to the power of 0. It will still be 1. Any integer at all raised to the power of 0 will give you 1. Then again, you can have something like if a raised to the power of m equals to a raised to the power of n, then if you have two numbers of the same base on both sides with their respective powers, all you need to do is to equate their powers. Since the two bases on both sides are the same, you then equate their powers. Then m equals to n. The moment you have two numbers of the same base on both sides, irrespective of what their power is, you will equate their power. So this is what this means. All right. So we are done with number bases. If you still have a question concerning number bases, you can ask us anytime, anywhere. But today we have started laws of indices or indices as a whole. So anywhere you do not understand, as we will be solving several questions across all laws of indices, do well to ask your question at any time because we are ready to answer your question. Okay? Your understanding is our own satisfaction. So let me quickly do just 2 examples for today. No, not 2 examples. Let me just solve 2 questions. And those questions, I want to pick them from question papers and then solve for today. Tomorrow, we will solve as many questions as we can just to make sure we satisfy you. All right? Okay. Let me clean the board. So, let me quickly clean the board. All right? So, whenever we have a class like this, always do well to invite your friends and family. In this question, we are going to look at question number. This is a YA question paper. Okay, so we'll solve question number 4, which is indices, and we will also solve question number 6, which is also indices. But first, let's do question number 4. Okay, let's on our own, we are going to take this as our number 1 question. The question is if 3 raised to the power of 6 minus 9x in bracket equals to 27 raised to the power of 1 minus 2x. The question is find the value of x, and then you have several options. Okay, let me not go that far. You have several options. Just watch me. You have options like A, B, C, D, and then E. You have option A to be 1/3, option B to be 1/2, option C to be 1, option D 3, option E 5. Okay, so let's quickly solve this question to see which of these options is correct. Okay, so let's solve it together. We have 3 raised to the power of 6 minus 9x to be equals to 27 raised to the power of 1 minus 2x. That's the question. Now, the moment let me just give you one trick concerning all of these questions in this way. Anytime you see a number on the left-hand side raised to any power, another number on the right-hand side raised to any power, the first thing you will have to look at do the number on the left hand side has any relationship with the number on the right hand side? If any of the two numbers relates in one way or the other, therefore means that there is something you can easily do to get the answer. Now, if you look at this place now, you can see that 3 here is a factor of 27, and 27 here is a multiple of 3. Is that right? They have a common relationship there. And so if it is true, it means that you can possibly break this 27 in terms of 3 or on the basis of 3, because all we need now is to make sure they have the same base on both sides so that we can equate their powers. All right? So we will now say 3 raised to the power of 6 minus 9x will now be equals to, I want to make 27 now to be on the basis of 3 so that I can equate their powers. Are you with me? This will now be 3 raised to the power of 3. This alone has simplified this 27. And now this power here will multiply into the former power that 27 had, okay, which is 2x. Now from here, you can now see that these two numbers are of the same base now. So this is, they are of the same base, same base, same base. So that was the essence of, if you could remember that law that says if A is raised to the power of m and is equals to another A with a different power of n, then m equals to n. If you can remember this law, then you can solve this as simple as that. Okay? So that we can now say that this implies that since these two numbers are of the same base on both sides, we will now equate their powers. This simply means that 6 minus 9x equals to 3 into 1 minus 2x. Okay? We only equate their powers. From there, again, say 6 minus 9x equals to 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times minus 2x is minus 6x. Can you see that? The next thing now, we are going to collect like terms. And if we do that, we're going to have minus 9x plus 6x equals to 3 here minus 6 here. Okay? Oh, we have a problem space on the board. So, but let me manage the space for you. Let me create a very small space and then solve that. I'm going to write something on this space. So you can now see that this is minus 9x plus 6x is minus 3x to be equals to, on the right hand side is 3 minus 6, which is minus 3. So this is minus 3. And so x equals to 3 over 3. And so therefore x equals to 1. This is the answer. So, see from the options that option C is the right option. As simple as that. Option C becomes the right option to that singular problem. So, I'm going to do one more example. Okay? So, take time and look at this. I'm going to do one more example before we finish for today's live stream. But for whatever reason, if you have any question, do not forget to put that question down in the comment section. And do well to invite your friends and family to subscribe to this channel. If whatever we do interests you, is of interest to you, then subscribe to this channel. This is one channel that we are dedicated to making sure you have passion for learning mathematics. Okay, so quickly, let me clean the board and then solve one last example before we move for the next day. Okay. Oh, let me clean the board for the next question to come up. All right. Do not panic if you don't still understand. Maybe in the next question, you will get it right. And even if you don't, we will keep solving indices till it gets to your understanding. All right. So this particular question says, simplify. Question number 2 that we solved today says, simplify. It says, simplify. Okay. Simplify 9 raised to the power of 1 over 4. I believe you can see that, or let me make it bold, very bold. 9 raised to the power of 1 over 4 multiplied by 27 raised to the power of 1 over 2. Then all over 81 raised to the power of 1 over 2. So these are the options. Okay. Let me write down the options for you. These are the options. The options. Okay. Option A, B, C, D, and E. Okay. You have option A to be 9. You have option B to be 7. You have option C to be 5. Option D 3. And then option E to be 1. Okay. Now let's see if any of those options are correct. So we have to bring that question here. You have 9 raised to the power of 1 over 4 multiply by 27 raised to the power of 1 over 2 all over 81 raised to the power of 1 over 2. This will be the same as, let's interpret this, or let's break this down first. I can write 9 as 3 raised to the power of 2. Then it will multiply into the former power, which is 1 over 4. Multiplied by 27 again can be written as 3 raised to the power of 3, which will automatically multiply into the former power, which is 1 over 2. All over 81 is the same thing as 3 raised to the power of 4, which will multiply into the former power, which is 1 over 2. Just watch me. Okay? So, in the next step, you can see here that 2 will cancel itself 1 and into 4, 2. So that will simply be 3 raised to the power of 1 over 2. Okay? Times 3 again raised to the power of 3 over 2. Here, look at this place. Here is 3 raised to the power of 2. All over 3 raised to the power of 2. Because 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then, in the next step, we are going to add these powers. Okay? That will be 3 raised to the power of 1 over 2 plus 3 over 2. Okay? And then minus 2. And then minus 2. Can you see that? Okay, let's go. Let's pick this up. Let us go and solve this first. Let's solve this place. Okay, so that place is 1. Let me use a different biro. Let's solve the place only. So that is 1 over 2 plus 3 over 2 and then minus 2. Okay, then let us do this. This is 1. LCM of 2 and 1 is 2. 2 into 2, 1 plus 3 minus 2. Okay, so if you see 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 minus 2 is 2. So that place is simply 2 over 2, which is what? 1. Can you see that? And so, if we come here now, we have resolved the whole of this power to be 1. So that is the same thing as 3 raised to the power of 1, which is what? 3. And that becomes the final answer. So from there, you can see that option D becomes the right option. Is that right? So this makes option D the right option. Having gotten to this point, I believe you have understand a thing or two. But if you don't, never worry, you will understand it tomorrow. We'll come back same time on the same topic. Do well to subscribe to this channel. Invite your friends to do same. See you in the next class and bye for now.